Croeso, hello, welcome to RobRyanRed, the Wrexham podcast brought to you in association with Red 10 People Development. On today's podcast, we'll take a look back at Wrexham's crucial win over Burton. We'll take a look as well at Wrexham's step closer to Wembley and preview the weekend game with Cambridge United. All that and more on today's episode.
RobRyanRed.
Well, Nath, I never quite know how the lyrics go, but on the 11th day of Christmas, it would have been the 10th day of Christmas actually, my true love gave to me a step closer to Wembley. Wrexham win again, another clean sheet, lots of changes this time. The Virtu Trophy, what will it be? Next year will be 20 years since we won the equivalent, the LDV Vans Trophy. Could history be repeating itself? How are you feeling today? And how do you feel about the prospect of a trip to Wembley?
I am good, feeling good. Another podcast in the can. What are we on? 202. Thanks to all the people that sent us messages about episode 200. Very, very kind. I'm actually, I know people sort of don't like it. It's not very good. It's different players. Attendances are low. I'm eager to get to Wembley. I'd love a Wembley trip this season. We have got no FA Cup excitement. Went out the Carabao Cup at the first stage. Went out the FA Cup at the first stage. You're down to now the last 16 teams. We'll know the draw as of Saturday. So Saturday morning is when the draw is to be made. Still be regionalised. So Wrexham have only got, a finite number of options. They're ball number 7. So I haven't got the list in front of me, but they can get Bolton.
I'll get the list up now.
Bolton is probably the one I want to avoid. And we called it in the last round. I don't know if we both did, but I definitely said I would like Crewe at home. And that's what we got. So if I can will the gods of the Virtu Trophy back into existence, I would say I would like Port Vale at the racecourse at the Kairos. That would be my preferred choice.
Okay, well, Northern section, like it says, Wrexham ball 7. We can get Bolton, Bradford, Chesterfield, Lincoln, Port Vale, Rotherham, and the winners of Blackpool versus Aston Villa under 21s. For me, I want a League One team. I just worry about facing League Two teams in this because they seem to take it a bit more serious, particularly those ones who are, maybe don't have as much to play for. Like I said, I don't maybe keep too close an eye on the League Two tables. I have to drag it up now before I disparage Bradford City too much.
You're just going to
say, Bradford are 11th in League Two, so they went full strength against Stockport on Tuesday night. Obviously, Stockport made changes, but they won there. And yeah, I just fear that if we play another League One team, I think both teams would rest a lot of players. But I think if you play in sort of a plucky League Two team who are really trying to salvage their entire season with winning this trophy, then that's where the banana skins could be. But before maybe we get too deep onto that game against Crewe, Burton at the weekend, Nath, quick word on that, because it was one of those quirky games in that it went ahead in the end. If it was been played at home, it wouldn't have been. All the matches in Wales were postponed because of the weather. And just because of the nature of the conditions, part of me was kind of wishing it would be postponed because I was fearing the worst going into that game. I thought it was a real banana skin. And huge credit to the lads for finding a way to win again against all the odds. Slice of luck with a goal, but we talk about it quite often lately. There's just these ugly, ugly wins. Not pretty, but they mean so much, don't they?
Yeah, you need to have them over the course of a season. It would be great. Wouldn't it be great if you could just razzle dazzle, blow teams away with spectacular football? You don't need to do that. I mean, it's nice. It's a cherry on top if you can do that. But as you see in these meat grinder leagues that are Leagues 1 and 2, you just need to win. And you just need to grind out results. And
is there any league in the world where you don't need to win?
MLS. You don't need to.
Yeah,
You're not going to go down. There you go. I got you there. Any American league, mate. They say you're not going to go anywhere. Probably, if anything, losing helps you in the long run. So where was I? Burton, the first half. Yeah, I just think, low quality first half, but really by the end, it should have been a little bit more comfortable. I think, Mullin has a chance that if he had again, you would back him to score it straight at the keeper from 5 or 6 yards out. couple more chances that we could have put away, and then if it's 2-3-0, it looks a lot more comfortable. But it made me laugh actually that all the stick that Elliot Lee has taken over maybe the past 12 months for his corners and never beaten the first man, and corners have been particularly poor. He scores direct from a corner, which reminded me, I think it was like evening out the karma of away at Salford. I'm pretty sure we conceded direct from a corner. That was a weird. We were behind that goal, the away fans, and pretty sure they just whipped in, did a similar thing, hit the back post, and it went in. So I think again we've evened out now the karma. So we've scored direct from a corner, which is lesser seen.
It reminds me of maybe the last time we did score directly from a corner, which was Dover away. First season of the takeover, we won 1-0 right at the death again. Another game where it was a real banana skin. I felt, that they were the whipping boys that season, a team we were expected to beat. I think we were probably expecting to, win 3 or 4-0 and finally put that sort of hoodoo at the Crabble behind us, other than a Mike Fondop bicycle kick. But it took a last-second corner from Jordan Davis to get the win there. And okay, by the end of the season, it doesn't matter because we don't go up, but they are the wins, aren't they? And it's just, again, testament to this side and to the mentality that no matter what's put against these players, and no matter who's on the pitch as well, that's the real strength, I think. It's not just a first 11 who are finding ways to win every week. It's the whole squad. They've all got that shared mentality and that shared belief and focus that's instilled by Parky and the coaching staff. And again, it's basically just, it's another appreciation for those in charge, mate, because we take for granted. And I was thinking this week when I was walking around town, just how often we have been the team who scores late on, or we score that goal. Since the takeover, we have so often been on the right side of those last-minute goal alerts. And for years and years and years, if you saw a goal in the Wrexham game in the 90th minute plus, or you saw us going away to somewhere like Burton, and you saw a goal pop up with not long left, you'd be like, here we go again. But now it's us every week. And there will come a time in a few years, hopefully as long as possible, where we are the team who seems to have luck against us all the time. And it just can't be taken for granted, basically, what we've got right now. And this momentum, we've said it right from the start, this is what other teams just don't have. We are just a team of winners, and long may it continue.
Yeah, it's a mentality thing. It's just that belief, that innate belief that you will go over the line. So even when it's particularly poor, as a manager, I would assume that Parkinson's able to be pretty calm, because you just go like, look, you know that you've been in these kind of holes before. It's a low quality game. Looking at Burton game, Tom O'Connor almost scored one of the freakiest goals of the season, where kind of overhits his free kick, his cross, and suddenly the keeper's having to pull off a wonder save, backtracking, and it goes over the bar. So I thought we used the conditions quite well to our advantage. And it was pointed out to me on Twitter, actually. Someone said that in previous home games, Elliot Lee's been desperately trying to do that kind of same width, that same technique of hitting the back post. And that is something that we've always said, you can train set pieces, right? You can practice you can't practice what goes on inside the box and kind of necessarily the flight of the ball and everything with the conditions, but you can keep putting it on a postage stamp every time, and eventually repetition will pay off. And yeah, somebody sent in a video to us, Rich, of Lee doing it. I think it was against, it might have been Exeter, it might have been Lincoln, one of those two, where, yeah, just whipping it in and it almost working, but not quite, maybe 90% of the way there. And then you see it at Burton, it works out perfectly. Seb Revan doesn't need to do anything at the back post except head the post, it seemed like.
A rival fan watching that, and maybe I even used the word myself, probably wrongly earlier, watching that on social media, be like, what a jammy goal, what a fluky goal. But he's obviously tried to put it there. He's maybe put it there in the hope that it will cause chaos in the box, someone can get a tap in, it might hit the post, might cause an awkward bounce, or a rebound, or something. But he's practicing that. He's meant that. So please, Elliot, please keep up this good delivery into the box, because it's been infuriating at times to watch. But yeah,
I've always loved Elliot Lee corners. I don't know about you. I've always loved Elliot Lee corners.
I've always loved them. Yeah,
really.
You should take more, shouldn't he?
Thing. Yeah, my favourite thing. I don't know why Luke Young took some. Who? I don't know why he took so many, to be honest. Yeah. So no, I would say not an accident. In that particular instance, it's worked, and there's an element of luck for it going in, the wind and everything. But it can't be a fluke because he's practiced it so often, and you've seen examples of him trying to do it previously. So good on him. Yeah, a set piece throughout. I think it's been a really interesting one because we had that long throw for so long, and you're always looking for marginal gains, aren't you? So you look at recently in the Premier League, it's been a big talking point about Arsenal and their set pieces, and if anything, they've become more lethal on set pieces than they have in open play. It's not the case for us at all, but it would be good to have a weapon that sort of was feared by others. So if we suddenly become, lethal on these corners, if we found a hack on a corner, which I don't think we quite have, but if we have, that's great for us.
And again, that's another point that we've made in previous weeks, that because of the nature of our games at the moment, we are only sort of winning by a single goal. So obviously the pressure predominantly is on the strikers to score those goals. But if it doesn't matter who is scoring it, if the scoreline's going to be 1-0, as long as someone's getting that goal, it doesn't really matter where it's coming from. So if it's coming from set pieces, great. It doesn't really matter. And again, I think that's important context when you look at our striker numbers this season. We all know, it's no secret, we all know they need to be better. We all know we've not really got a striker who's firing other than Jack Marriott before his injury. But because we're winning 1-0, and we are like Arsenal of old, 1-0 to the Arsenal, it's 1-0 to the Wrexham at the moment.
1-0 to Wrexham.
Do you know what I mean? So that's the context of it. Because it's not as if we're scoring loads and loads of goals and the strikers aren't getting any. We're not scoring many, and the strikers aren't getting them either, but we are getting the goals. So for now, it's still a problem, but it's a very luxurious position to be in for us to be complaining about how we never score and how we've got so much improvement to make.
I kind of want to flip the narrative because we've spoke at length. There's nothing really more to say. The attackers are not hitting the heights that we need them to hit, really, if we're to sustain it, you would think. But hey, we've got to mid-December and it's going fine so far. I wanted to ask you, do you think this current group, which is chopping and changing, admittedly, but given the depth we've got defensively, it's unrivaled, I think, in terms of what we've had in all my years watching Wrexham, really, just in terms of the depth, two completely different back threes and wing backs, etc., that are still brilliant. Can we beat the clean sheet record in a season that was set in, I believe, 2018-19, not that long ago? Rob Lainton, Sean Pearson, Kevin Roberts, 20 grand Kevin Roberts at right back.
Yeah.
That I sent you the exact number. Was it 24 clean sheets?
I believe it was 24.
And we're on 14 now, are we? Or 26. It was something like that. 24, 26 in all competitions. We're on 14, I believe, so far.
Yeah, again, like I said, that's very recent memory, and one of those quirks that we had that season where there just weren't many goals either. And again, that wasn't one that ended in promotion. But here's the stats for you then. Like you said, you sent it to me in a different chat, annoyingly, so I've not got it to hand right now. But it is 14 clean sheets in 25 matches with 4 different goalkeepers so far this season. And of course, that also means different configurations of a back three as well, and the wing backs and all that. So that is absolutely staggering. As for Nathan Salt's message to me, 26 is the most in a single season.
So we
which
need
is
another
still
12.
So high. That is absolutely obscene. That's across all competitions. And of course, it doesn't help that we're out of cups, both at the first hurdle either, because there might have been opportunity to get 1 or 2 under there. And again, that was the quirk of that season. Was I can't remember our cup run actually, but we'd had FA Trophy and FA Cup preliminaries. So I'm guessing, probably be aged horrible this, but I'm guessing we must have at least got clean sheets in them that would have bulked it a bit.
We'll be close though. You would say you should get between now and the end of the season. You would say you would get at least 6 more clean sheets. Knock on wood, but you would say that's 20 clean sheets in a season.
It's ridiculous.
With Okonkwo, with Burton, with Howard, and with Super Brad
Foster. It then
Foster,
makes you realise again just how obscene that previous record is. Because I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't beat it. But that doesn't mean that this season's got to go off the rails either. We could just start winning games 2-1 instead of 1-0.
But I bet you those defenders are aware of that record though. Because why not aim for it? It's something good to aim for. Obviously, you just want to be winning games anyway.
Yeah.
But knowing that you could set an all-time club record, and you also know that if you somehow surpass 26 clean sheets, you're going up. Let's be real.
If we beat that record, we're
27
promoted.
clean sheets, you're promoted. You're up. So
unless we draw every game 0-0 now for for the rest of the season. In which case, that will get clipped.
They get a gold. They get a gold sticker for the record at least, and it'll be like Kevin Roberts. He never went up with us, but he got the record. So I think it's achievable for them. I think you look at it.
I guess that's the question again for people listening, though, isn't it? Do you think Wrexham could beat that clean sheet record? Spell it out for them again, Nath. They've got to beat. We've got to beat 26. That's the grand total across all comps in a single season. And how many we got now?
14.
14.
And remember, we've only got the league and the Virtu Trophy, which we're going to get onto shortly. But in the Virtu Trophy, you've only got the potential, if we went all the way, of 4 more games. And the league, I mean, how many more games have we got to go? Another 20...
26. Are we at the halfway stage now? We said Burton was the halfway stage.
We're not quite. I don't think we're quite halfway yet. So you can pull the table up. I don't think we're quite halfway. So we've got 20 odd...
19 games, yeah. So we've still got...
Yeah, we still got, what is it,
27 games, is it?
Yeah, so there you go. So 27 games plus the 4. So 31 games. Will Wrexham get at least 12 clean sheets from 31 games?
It's still, even if you look at the league table now, it's still ridiculous that, either side of us, Wycombe have conceded 21, Birmingham and Huddersfield have conceded 16, and we've got 11. I know there's so much talk about the goals scored, but we've only scored 4 goals fewer than Birmingham anyway. So for a team who doesn't score many goals, do you know what I mean? Their sort of 30 million strike force, whatever they've assembled, is only scoring 4 more goals than us anyway. So I wouldn't worry too much. Bringing it back onto Tuesday, then, Nath, the Virtu Trophy.
It's always going
to be the elderly vans or the pizza cup to me. I mean, how are you feeling about it right now? Because it's obviously a byproduct of just having good squad depth, and you kind of tell that every season that the teams who have that at their disposal tend to go some of the furthest. But the closer we get, the more appealing it becomes as a prospect of a trophy to win. Like you said, it's a trip to Wembley. How seriously do you take it? Like I said, I know Parky will say you treat every game as it is anywhere. Your focus switches from one to the other. But listen, we all know the priority is the league. How much resource do you put into this? Is there any stage where you do go with a stronger team than you have been doing so far?
I'm a bit disappointed you asked me that, because I was going to flip it and ask you, when do you go full strength? I think
the final is the only time you go full strength.
I think you probably, if you make it to the final, I think you've got to go for it then. And if it's, could you imagine if it was I don't know who's in the southern side, but for Wrexham and, well, I suppose it could be 2 northern sides. If it's like Wrexham and Bradford got to the final, the attendance would be brilliant. Or like Wrexham and Birmingham or someone. Attendance would be mega.
There's that quirk, I can't remember what it was. There's some sort of viral stat that went. It's when Sunderland played Portsmouth, I believe, maybe in the final.
That was probably
the final?
That was probably immense.
I swear, this might be totally wrong, but I swear it was like the highest football attendance at the new Wembley.
Really?
Just because there was less comps, because like a Champions League final, FA Cup final, has loads of comps and has loads of dignitaries and stuff.
Complimentaries, yeah.
But EFL Trophy doesn't have as many, and it was like the 2 biggest teams possible playing each other, and it was like basically just all fans. I swear it was something like that. It was definitely Sunderland who were involved. I don't know the ins and outs too much.
I think you have a real opportunity here. And also, look at the players that we're expecting to play. It'll be, potentially come January, it could be Mark Howard, I would think, would be the goalkeeper for the remainder of the Virtu Trophy. I would think, sorry to Super Brad Foster. And then I'm looking at it going, all right, Lewis Brunt was in it at the beginning of the campaign. Now we've got Dan Scarr in there, Tom O'Connor, Aaron James. I want to get onto some of those specifically in a minute, but you think that as a back three is very solid, Rich. That can go all the way to the final, that back three. I don't care what anyone says. You've then got Mendy and Revan as options on the left. You got Ford, who's fresh as a daisy, can only play in this competition. Don't know what his future holds beyond January, but then there's Luke Bolton, and if you really want to, you've obviously got Barney, you can play there. Midfield, I mean, as I predicted, and I was getting shot down on social media, I said George Dobson would play. I think I even floated last week that I would have played him to get him back into a rhythm, having not played since.
Hey, let's not mention the players we said we were going to play who didn't.
Yeah, let's ignore the fact.
Only mention the ones who did play.
Yeah, I got 8 right. Let's ignore the others that I got wrong. But if you're able to drop in now and again a Dobson, Rathbone, Cannon, like one of those probably isn't involved, and Matty James you're probably not going to use if he's for league games. So again, we don't know what the future holds for him. And then up front, again, it might not be Bodvarsson by the time the next game comes around, but it's an opportunity for Fal. Okay, they're not taking it right now, but you are getting through, you are winning. Mullin, bit surprised he didn't start, but comes on, gets the assist. Palmer can come on. Fletcher. I think you've got enough depth there that you don't need to derail. And I wouldn't suggest going all in on the Virtu Trophy and sabotaging the league. Absolutely not.
But I think
do I need
here's
to
one
choose?
for you.
I don't think I need to choose between the two.
Well, here's one for you that is maybe the most relevant of the examples is the FA Trophy in Parky's first season. We won 5-0 against Gloucester City in what was our first round, the third round of the competition. We then beat Folkestone 5-1. We then had Boreham Wood at home, which was a real tough game, 3-0. Someone got a hat-trick of assists in that game. Was it McFadzean?
I feel like Callum McFadzean got either 2 or 3 assists in that game. I was in a box for that game, weirdly. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. The quarterfinal was ridiculous. Remember, we beat Notts County away 2-1. Jarvis and James Jones scored a last-minute sort of winner. And we'd started with Palmer and Mullin in that game. Had we, or did we bring them on the bench? Because we were
they
saying...
came on together, or they played, yeah, I remember.
Yes, in terms of selection. And, of course, we got Stockport in the semi, in which case we did go quite full strength, even though we perhaps hadn't planned to do so originally, but because it was Stockport, that was always going to be a game.
That's one of the best moments we've had outside of the actual promotion days. That's one of the best moments we've had post takeover, the Stockport game, the Mullin chip.
And as we mentioned earlier, next year is 20 years since Southend at the Millennium Stadium, which you genuinely now look back in the last 20 years of supporting Wrexham. There's been incredible moments. There's been lots of amazing moments for the wrong reasons, really. Surviving against Boston, keeping the club alive, obviously the takeover, stuff like that. But in terms of on the pitch moments, Stockport semi-final and Southend are both right up there. I know we've had promotions since, but they are special, special days, particularly the Millennium Stadium trip, because everything we were going through at the time. And we say it all the time, Nath, that, look, for all the Hollywood script writing stuff, the actual football product is what is so remarkable. It's the people involved. It's the stories we're writing. And if we got to the same final 20 years after we won it, back then we were on our plummet. We were on the way down. We were in administration. We were about to get, the first of the relegations to take us out of the Football League. And 20 years later, we are the second best team in the competition. And we now have so much to look forward to. It would be just poetry. It'd be so monumental if we got back there. So I'm all for it. I would love it if we won it.
I want a shot of redemption at Wembley because we really disgraced is too strong a word, but we let ourselves down massively in front of the chair, not just in front of the chairman, but in front of all the people watching it in the documentary. Beckham, like everything about that day was all set up to be a crowning moment before we'd gone and got promoted. And at that point, the season was derailing. We lost to Dagenham, we lost to Bromley, we lose to Grimsby. Season ends in a whimper. But yeah, I just think a Wembley final would be amazing. They don't come around very often. They are rare. They are special. I know we had a couple playing North Ferriby in the final and we lost, and beating Grimsby in the final and we dug ourselves out of snow. So we've maybe been a little bit more fortunate than some other clubs. But getting to Wembley shouldn't be taken for granted.
There's another that you didn't mention there.
I'm not gonna bring that one up. That was too bitter a pill to re-swallow. But yes, obviously that playoff final heartache against who by now. But I think Wembley final cannot be taken for granted, and I think we've got the players to do it. I think that Crewe game, far from our best. I mean, the man of the match went to the goalkeeper, Brad Foster, brought in.
What did you make of him? What do you make of Super Brad in goal?
Super Brad Foster in goal. I thought he did. I thought he did well, given he hasn't played a lot of football. It's coming. It is tough because such limited experience. We did say, was it going to be him? Was it going to be? Well, we didn't know it was going to be him at the time, but was it him? Was it going to be Liam Hall? They obviously didn't risk Mark Howard because you're down to the bare bones in the goalkeeping unit, or so we thought. There's somebody else there at the game, which we'll get onto very shortly. I thought he did well, but I think there were saves in there that he should have made and did make. But man of the match, I don't know. I think it was such a low quality game that why not give him man of the match? No one else stood out particularly, I didn't think.
Yeah, I think in terms of the context as well, he deserves credit for it, and particularly coming in so undercooked. I think when we signed Brad Foster, I was very underwhelmed. I think I even put in the WhatsApp group, "Is this the best we can get? On a short-term deal?" Which I'm happy to eat my words. It was a very solid display, and again, it's so difficult to come in at that level to play at such a high level as well. Basically at the highest level he's ever played at in his career, properly in a sort of competitive game like that. Anyway, and to make some good saves in the most culpable position as well, because there's no second chances in goal if you make a mistake. You are punished emphatically. If a striker misses a chance, they'll get another, and it usually doesn't define the game as much as the keeper in the net. So yeah, really pleased with him, really encouraged. In terms of who else, Sean, I mean, Anthony Ford always looks bright. His delivery was superb. There's an incredible crossfield pass that did find Josh Adam. He was making good runs out of position. He looked bright and intelligent. Again, though, you wonder, when does Josh Adam, does he ever make that transition now to being in proper first team squad, so matches that really do matter? And I guess I
think he's struggling. I think he's going to struggle.
I think the problem really is, Nate, is no one really took their chance, did they? I know Aaron James was good, but he'll be going out on loan.
Yeah, I think
soon,
that's what I was going to pick out. I think probably Aaron James and Dan Scarr for me were probably the two that, at different ends of the experience scale. And what an experience for Aaron James to play alongside someone as accomplished as Dan Scarr. Aaron James, particularly though, it's always nice when one of your own can get the winner for you. And it's a great header as well. And that brings me on to quickly I wanted to say, because we did get a YouTube comment asking if headed goals were a new thing for Wrexham. Like, have we become more reliant on headed goals, less reliant? So I thought what I would do, Rich, was just give you the data from League One so far this season, League Two last season. So I know Aaron James scored a header. I haven't got the data in all comps. But last season in League Two, Wrexham scored 89 goals, which was the fourth most in the league. Headed goals, out of those 89, 20 were headed goals, which made us second in the league, only behind Stockport, who had 21 headers. So, to rank second in all of League Two last season for headers shows you that we're very, very good in the air. And I think people brought this up recently on one of our YouTube comment sections when there was that cross from Barnett to Palmer. Rich, was that in the Exeter game? Brilliant delivery, great header.
Again, one of the sort of goals of the season in a weird way in terms of the way it's worked. It was just, it was so good.
Yeah. So then I thought, well, this season, how are we getting on this season? Wrexham scored 28 goals in League One, 8 of which are headers. And that puts us second only to Wycombe. So again, we're at the top end, the top sort of percentile for headed goals. So again, you are seeing that we are a threat in the air, and people like Aaron James, I know they're not going to play regularly, but it's good to see they are a goal threat in the air. Mac, as we've seen, centre-backs. You want your centre-backs to be a threat in both boxes, really. You want them to be dominant, like Aaron Hayden was for years for us in the early stage of the takeover. He was so dominant in our own box, and then in the opposition box, he was lethal. I remember him scoring a brace away at Woking when you're saying Aaron Hayden's on a hat-trick here away at Woking. So we are second in, and while I've got the data though, Rich, 28 goals a season in League One, 8 of which are headers, 10 on the right foot, 7 on the left foot, 0 penalties. We are, I'm going to try and find out, we are one of quite a few teams actually that haven't had a single penalty in League One. Wrexham, Leyton Orient, Cambridge, who play at the weekend, Bristol Rovers, who we play the following weekend, Burton Albion, Exeter and Wigan. So 7 teams there without a single penalty to their name this season. But yeah, to the point, to the YouTube comments, I forget the exact name, so I apologise. But yeah, still seems like we're right up there on the headed goals. And if I looked at it for all comps, Aaron James nodded one in to add to it. But I thought Mullin's assist as well, Rich. I thought he looked good when he came on. I know he missed
that kind
another
of
couple of chances.
me, because that is still what Mullin brings to the team. And again, we talk about, and it's tedious. People heard it so many times, goals, but that's what Mullin brings in. It's the movement, it's the awareness, it's that creativity. It's just when defenders are asleep and they switch off, he's right on it. The ball is played in so quickly, but it's perfect. The header is just a nice sort of glancing one into the corner. Mullin's going to be fine. And you mentioned, this weekend we're playing his former team. What if we get that first penalty of the season? What if Mullin's on the pitch? Smash it, laces through it. I don't care how it goes in.
That's the question. No, I don't think he will be on the pitch from the start against Cambridge. I think Parky's gonna go right back to Lee and
Yeah,
Palmer. It's
yeah.
been so
I don't
effective.
think you can
And
change what's been working
no,
in
but
that
the
regard.
question I get into is, it was brought to my attention that obviously players go around the sort of supporter groups, and should say shout out to the Manchester Reds. What are they celebrating this year? Does Christmas do?
Yeah, Saturday Cambridge,
What?
sorry, will be our Christmas do. I'm already slurring my words now, so after a few pints of the mice go in, who knows how bad it'll be. But yeah, that'll be
So,
Saturday pre-match.
so what
Yeah.
I wanted to say about the supporter groups. Jordan Davis went to one. I saw a Grimsby fan this week saying like, give Wrexham whatever they want. I really just want him to
Mm.
stay. Dundee United saying we want to do whatever we can to keep Sam Dolby, and that's because they play all the time, so they can get into a rhythm whereby they can
Yes.
iron out the kinks in their in their game and improve. Mullin's weirdly fallen into that bracket of Marriott last season when I was among those writing him off because 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, you can't get up to game speed. Jordan Davis, I know, was criticised for many things, but again, it's difficult to get up to game speed when you're getting 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And so Mullin's in that camp now where I know people don't want to hear it, and people are saying, "Oh, just forget it now." Like Parky's moved on to a different system, and Mullin's now a sort of rotation bench player. He's going to really find it hard, I think, to get into a groove when you're only going to get 10, 15 minutes. So I would now be from here on in, I'd be surprised if he's a starter. I'd be surprised if he started against Cambridge. I would be surprised if he started against Bristol Rovers as of right now. Um,
Mm.
and I
I
think
still
that
think,
puts him in a
yeah,
difficult situation, I think.
it certainly does, and that's well established now, isn't it? That he's going to have these games where. Fact of the matter is, if he's coming onto a game, he's either coming on for 10 minutes when we've already won, and there's kind of no impetus to play sort of in rest mode. They're sort of recovering. They're not chasing the game. They don't need to do much. Or he's coming on where we desperately need a goal, and his currency is goals. So if we're losing 1-0, we put Mullin on and he doesn't score, well, he's not done his job. That's black and white. He's not done his job. So, he will be harshly judged in that. So he's got a real uphill battle. But as we've seen this season, there will be suspensions, there will be injuries, and he just needs to be in the right frame of mind. Fitness, I think he's looking closer and closer now. I think he's looking fine. He's just not got that confidence, maybe, and he's just not got that effortless sort of nonchalance in front of goal where he was scoring just without even trying at times. And things, there's that goal, was it Aldershot away or someone where he like did that weird back heel? It went down his own goal, maybe. Like, he did that weird
I feel
twist, and it was like
older shot away, which was like push gas content.
yeah,
No, it wasn't,
but
but it
it's
should have
like
been.
when things are going your way, those goals happen. That just happens. He's got the confidence flowing. He'll get there. He will be fine. That's does not doubt me whatsoever. He just needs it, and it's probably going to come, like you said, because someone drops out of the team and he gets that moment. And if he takes that moment, it's all okay. It's going to be fine. So yeah, I agree with you. I think for the time being, we've got to stick with what we've got. But there's so many games coming up. There are so many games that it also wouldn't entirely shock me. If he's ever going to start a game, surely Cambridge at home against his former team, this is the one, surely. I know we'll do a proper preview in a minute on that, but for me, that's got to be the one. I would be seriously tempted to start him this weekend.
Rich, I was going to get onto the goalkeeping department because I think since we last recorded, Callum Burton has gone in for an op that we suspect, or that Parkinson suspects, is going to rule him out for the remainder of the season. That is a devastating blow. Sending our well wishes to Callum because he was in really good form, and you wait forever to play as a number 2 goalkeeper, and then to go out as he did, just booting the ball and goes down against Barnsley, and that's that. Mark Howard comes on. We were left with Mark Howard and Liam Hall. We explained previously about why Wrexham were frustrated in their ability to go and make that emergency loan signing, because you have to have a goalkeeper that hasn't made 5 senior appearances. Obviously, Howard's made a lot more than 500 probably. So he was obviously fit to play. They then went and got Brad Foster from relative obscurity. Parky's also saying that they actually now think Arthur Okonkwo is a little bit further away than they thought. So that could be mid-January, maybe late January. If it's bad, the wrist is a problematic injury, especially for a goalkeeper. And talking to goalkeepers, eagle-eyed fans, as they always are, outside the player's entrance, spotted what appeared to be, or who appears to be, Timothy. Am I gonna get it right? Timothy Tutala, I think that's right, from Hull, who came up against Wrexham for Doncaster last season. You might remember him particularly because he pulled off one of the great saves that I've seen in a long time when he denied Stephen Fletcher's header from inside the box. Do you remember that, Rich? It was just a staggering save from midfield.
I guess so we'll do our usual sort of wiki research on him in a minute, and you can just look at the pedigree of where he's come from. But part of the reason why Doncaster was so good in the second half of last season and so nearly got promoted, they got to the playoffs, and they should have, but they collapsed against Crawley or Crewe, was it in the end? Was it Crewe? I think they got thumped by, didn't they, at their own place? Or Gresty, maybe even.
Yeah, right.
But part of the reason they did so well was because of his performances in goal and how revitalized they were. And, he's got a lot about him. So it's very interesting if indeed it is him who was pictured at the Kairos on Tuesday night. That would indicate that Wrexham are looking for more permanent, or maybe a loan signing or permanent signing in January to cover the goalkeeping department to the end of the season. At the moment, he plays for Hull City. He was on loan at Doncaster. He's also been on loan at Stevenage. It would be interesting if we get him on loan to the end of the season. That's a pretty exciting and good cover to have.
Rich, I would say that I've reached out to his camp, the club, various people that are sort of in and around it. There's no reason he's not just decided to walk through the players' entrance at Wrexham because he fancies it, because it's a laugh. He's there for a reason. Right now, that reason's not been revealed, but high quality young goalkeeper. Hull seem to accrue lots and lots of goalkeepers. I think he might be their fourth choice right now, and even with their struggles. And if you have got a problem with Callum Burton for the long term, for the season, Okonkwo's again not quite right. You do need someone to step up. Now, I don't want to be too critical of Mark Howard because he did very well, I thought, the other day when he kept the clean sheet of Burton. But he was made that third choice for a reason, and I would not be surprised at all if the club go and make a loan signing that will at least fill the gap of Callum Burton, because it doesn't add to your 22 that goalkeepers don't count against the squad cap. If it's a loan signing, you'll likely be splitting the wage. So it's a largely risk-free sort of move, because the parent club, as they call them, happy to see them go out, get games, increase the value. And Wrexham have seen that they've got a goalkeeper that is very, very good and is coming from a championship club. So, Aidan Davidson's done very well in terms of goalkeeping recruitment. We were sceptical, weren't we, about Brad Foster? 65th player, we're going to get onto that probably at the very, very end. 65th player to play for Wrexham under Phil Parkinson. Maybe Tutala is going to be number 66, because he was there last night. He was chatting to fans. Did say his name was Tim. I saw somebody put that back to us, Rich, that he did tell me his name was Tim.
He was at the racecourse on Tuesday.
He was at the racecourse. Let's not beat around the bush. It was him at the racecourse.
Why are you only telling me this now on air? I would have gone with more authority if I knew that.
I just thought I would drop it in when I'm looking as well at the replies. But look, highly rated, performed very well against us. Small sample size, but was far too good for League Two. We need a goalkeeper, unfortunately, because of Callum Burton and Okonkwo. Howard, a good veteran, but they will want to solidify like they're looking for with a striker, Rich. Yes, Howard could probably tide you over to the end of the season, but do you want to risk it? And the answer is no.
Yeah, well, again, it's ultimately why we signed Ben Foster in the first place, is because we were so close to a promotion and we didn't ultimately trust Mark Howard to get us over the line. That is the bottom line.
Ben Foster has ruled out that he's not going to come back.
He has, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw last season that he wasn't ready for League Two, so going up a level, I think, it rules it out. That's that one dead. I'm sure the sort of news outlets absolutely hated that one. From our journalistic point of view, I bet they were all hoping for a third dance of Ben Foster, it would have been. But it's interesting. It makes a lot of sense. And again, we're in the position now where why not solidify it? Why not play the percentages? We're in a position I don't think anyone really could have envisaged this far into the calendar year, this far into the season. Promotion is now a realistic ambition. It certainly is something that we've got to be judged on, something that's within sight. It's still a lot of football to be played, but we're dreaming, and we've got every right to dream this time. So getting another keeper in makes so much sense. So, Nath, before we get onto the Cambridge United preview, then we got an email this week from Dav. Of course, you can get in contact with us, RobRyanRed@gmail.com, if you want to send an email in. And Dav used to work on the Wrexham media team. Key reason why the bilingual service was sort of brought into Wrexham, why club announcements and why stadium announcements were done in both languages. Dav used to also work for PA and for the BBC, covering Wales matches, covering Wrexham, so he's well versed in those things. Since he left the media team, he's been part of a band, Paid Goffin, which translates from Welsh to English as "Don't Ask." Himself, we are asking today, and he's asked us to bring attention to their new song, which talks about Wrexham's history. He's in the email says, please find the attached song, which we might be able to play a clip of. You can get on Spotify anyway. The band Paid Goffin, PAID space GORFYN. He says, I hope you find the history of the song interesting, from Alan Birmingham to Mo Farl. More importantly, we'd love a shout out to promote it on the podcast and to draw attention that it's on Spotify and on Apple Music. So we'll play a little snippet of the song now. There's a Welsh version and an English version. And like we said, check it out, Spotify and Apple. Sorry to Wrexham-based band Hypnotic for letting another Wrexham-based band steal your thunder for 1 week only, but I'm sure it'll be okay. Right then, Nath. Cambridge this weekend. I'll start Mullin. I'll captain Paul Mullin. I'll give all the set pieces to Paul Mullin. What are you doing line-up-wise this weekend?
I'm going to go back to the formula that's worked for us. I'm going to go Mark Howard, Lewis Brunt, Max Cleworth, Owen O'Connell, James McLean, Ryan Barnett, Ollie Rathbone, Matty James, George Dobson. Yeah, those three in midfield, Lee and Palmer. That would be my start, just to wear them down. And maybe you give Mullin half an hour at the end, a tired Cambridge defence. Because look, Cambridge absolutely, I know it's no great achievement that they beat the brakes off Shrewsbury, but it's still, they beat the brakes off Shrewsbury, and they will be buoyed by that. They'll be on the up. And we saw what a win over Peterborough did for Burton, made them a lot more resolute, a lot more difficult to break down. One win can make a lot of difference. So let's see. I would love to see Paul Mullin start, captain, score a hat trick. Great. That would, our pod next week would be absolutely sorted, Rich.
Kiss the Wrexham badge in front of the away end.
Ooh, I don't know. Where do you stand on non-celebrations? Because I feel like you might do the non-celly.
I hate the non-celly. And I fully respected Scott.
I feel like he might
Scott
do
Bowden
that,
when he did that again. When Scott Bowden scored against us and wound us up in that Boreham Wood 4-2 classic on a Tuesday night. I love it. It's what football's about. The non-celly, get in the bin. I hate
it. This non-celebration thing's got to stop. Because it's not disrespectful. Just goals should be celebrated. Unfortunately,
who's paying your wages?
Right. Also, and this is unrelated to Cambridge.
How will you feel if Luke Young scores against us and kisses the badge and sticks the middle finger up to the tech end and says,
if he
never appreciated me?
If he sticks the middle finger up specifically to me, like finds me, James Gray-esque, before
and says, "Leave me alone. I'm gone, Nathan. Stop messaging me."
I feel like that would break my heart a little bit, but I'd probably have to accept it. And Cheltenham paying his wages, so if we play Cheltenham, Luke Young gives me the middle finger, so be it. I don't know how I'm going to move away from this, but you're wearing a different shirt that you've not worn on the podcast before.
Yeah, I got this week. I think this is like 3 or 4 away.
You got it this week by bidding less than one of our friends who got rejected for it.
Yeah, our dear friend James Kelly offered someone online double the price I ended up paying for this shirt, because my tactic is just it's just persistence. Just wait for it to have been online for a long time and then send in lowball them around Christmas time And yeah, that's what I did. So
well, it's a very nice
might
shirt.
make its debut this weekend.
And a lesser seen, a lesser spotted shirt.
It's very sort of rugby, though. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I'm going to sort of go to the SU and drink a pint of piss or something. Like, it's very bootcut jeans and... Yeah, sorry to rugby fans out there. I'm a football fan.
We know what you're wearing to the Mice Gwyn on Saturday, then.
Yeah, I'll be wearing my best.
Jeans and... There you go. But Cambridge the weekend, I don't know. I mean, are you disagreeing with my team at all?
I mean,
well, you would, because
I think your team will be the team. I would just like to see Paul Mullin start. I think we'll revert to what we've been doing in recent weeks. In all honesty, maybe bring Paul Mullin on the hour mark or so, sort of kind of regardless of how the game's going. And again, it's an interesting game because, as you mentioned, they had that real uplifting win. They lost in the Football League Trophy themselves on Tuesday night. They were recently hammered, I think, 6-1 away at Peterborough. But they've got some decent points in there. They've drawn with Bolton, drawn with Barnsley. So they look like maybe since they've lost to Peterborough so heavily, that they've at least kept things a bit tighter at the back, and they look like they could give us a game. And the quirk is this weekend will be another one of those matches where the onus is on us to break them down. I don't think that's as much of a problem in home matches. That's why I was quite worried for Burton away. But yeah, it's Wrexham. I don't want to kill the mood. I do think there will be a game at some point at home where we just have an off day, and we could be punished if we really don't, take our chances, and the opposition do get maybe a slice of luck and things go our way. But I'm feeling confident this weekend, mate. I'm going to the Mice Gwyn. I'm going to have a lovely lunch, going to have a few pints, and then, hopefully going to watch Wrexham win. What are you thinking, score-wise?
I will go... You know what? Because it's our MO at the minute, I'm going to go Wrexham 1, Cambridge 0. Take our
I'm going
clean
free.
sheets.
3 for 3, mate. 3-0, I reckon.
At this point, I just want to win, but I'm sort of invested in getting this clean sheet record now. So I hope we can, because we haven't conceded a goal at home since we beat Northampton 4-1. And that was on the 5th of October, I think. So 4th, 5th of October. So in all competitions, we haven't conceded at home since then. So we're looking good. We're rock solid. And what do they always say? Defense wins championships. So
they also say availability is the best ability, which is another great Nathan Salter.
I love that one. That's one of my favourite sayings.
Yeah, you do. Get that on the tea towel.
Is the best ability. Should we end on a quiz then? And not a big long one, not a big draft. But as I said, Brad Foster, the 65th player to play for Wrexham under Phil Parkinson. Now, we are going to make this a quiz that will be on our website that you can play. So also shout out to the Twitter account, the X account, Wrexham Lowdown, for flagging up that it was 65. They do great work, great stats. Follow their account. I love it over there. So
before we start, I am going to have a sip of water, by the way, because I'm very nervous for this. Do you want to explain the premise of what you're going to do then?
So all I'm going to do is I'm going to give Rich 60 seconds to name as many of the 65 players as he can. Now, before we even start, a lot of them will come naturally, Rich, because you're going to go, right, these play every week, these play all the time. There's lots, there's a squad currently of 22, isn't there? So that, even if you just rattled off all the ones currently.
But that's tough.
Right, that's tough because under pressure, that's tough. I get you. So we shall see. And then when it gets to 30 seconds, you'll know, because I will play the classic countdown clock. Just you can compose yourself. How many do you reckon you'll get? You're not going to get all 65 in 60 seconds.
No, I reckon I'll get about 35.
35. Okay. So
I think that's very ambitious, because right now I'm really down on myself. But I think I'll get 35.
The funny thing is that it's always me making you do these things. So it's
the tables are turned. I don't like this.
never the other way around. So I'm going to put on...
So if you do this on our website, by the way, you will have maybe like 5 or 10 minutes to name all 65. Just for the nature of the podcast, we'll do it in 60 seconds. See how many I can get through.
However we can configure it, I'll probably put 5 minutes on the... quiz one, but on this one, no one wants to listen to you for 5 minutes.
You want surnames okay? Yeah,
surnames will do it. Yeah. Well, surnames will be fine. So I will start you now. Go, Rich.
Brad Foster, Ben Foster, David Jones, James Jones, Aaron Hayden, Reece Hall-Johnson, Cam Jarvis, Dan Jarvis, Cam Green, Paul Mullin, Ollie Palmer, Stephen Fletcher, Arthur Okonkwo, Mo Falls, John Doddy Bodvarton, Ryan Barnett, Luke Young, Aaron Hayden, Harry Lennon, Ben Tozer, Luke Young again. If I've not already said him, you can have him again. Jake Bickerstaff, Anthony Ford, Jacob Mendy, Will Boyle, Elliot Lee, Jordan Davis, Aaron James, Andy Cannon, Seb Revan, Luke Bolton, Owen O'Connell, James McLean, Jordan Tunnicliffe. I'm missing some cities here. I went blank. That is so difficult.
Oh, I'm playing it again. We're not giving him a second go round. That was very, very good. That was a good effort. You started with
I
such
don't think
momentum.
I got many then. I don't think I got many there.
You started with such momentum. At this point, I wasn't even counting along. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the number on the screen that Rich got.
I don't think I got 35.
Well, you did.
I think I got. I reckon I got 20s.
You started with such momentum there.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you one or two then. So this will help you out if you do the quiz. One or two that might be difficult to remember. And we've had some of these on the podcast, Rich. Jake Hyde was one of them.
Yeah,
difficult.
Remember him, yeah.
I'll give you two more then. No. I'll give you two more. Jamie Record, left back.
Yeah.
And I'll also give you one of the ones who I think only made one or two appearances. Owen Cushion. Put a pin in that one.
There was also, well, giving a hint, but not the name, the guy we saw score his only Wrexham goal at Barnet away.
Yes, the first Phil Parkinson signing. So there you go. That was very fun. I enjoyed that. As the
end,
end,
the other guy who missed a sitter in that game. Oh my god! There's so many comebacks to me now.
I only gave you 60 seconds. I'm going to give anyone who plays along 5 minutes. So that will be on our website as of today. That'll be there. It'll be live. So have fun. Go play. See how many you get. Let us know your scores. RobRyanRed on Twitter,
people
Blue Sky,
are going to be
Instagram.
Screaming out names when they're listening to that.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone who listened to this week's podcast. As always, like we said, get in contact, RobRyanRed@gmail.com, RobRyanRed.com. Contact us through there. Thank you so much to Wrexham-based band Hypnotic for the music, the stings they let us use in this podcast. Thank you as well to Red 10 People Development. Without you, the podcast wouldn't still be going. Thank you, though, to you, wherever you are in the world. If you're listening, please give us a review on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get podcasts. If not, check us out on YouTube. A subscription over there to our channel helps us massively. And again, you can get us on all the socials as well. Thank you. Take care. And we'll see you again next time.
The Wrexham AFC podcast with Nathan Salt and Rich Bay.